Now, as the world commemorates Nelson Mandela, let's take you live now to where the lecture was held at the Joburg Theatre. And my colleague Iman Rapeti is standing by to bring us a conversation with activist Malala Yousafzai. Iman?
Bongiwe, good evening, and thank you so much. What a treasure and a joy to be able to be in the same atmosphere as Malala Yousafzai, and I would love to welcome her to our viewers and to Full View. Please feel very welcome to the country. I know it's your first visit to South Africa. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you, alaikum assalam. And there could not have been any better opportunity than this to be invited to the Mandela Lecture and to see this beautiful place, meet incredible people here, visit the Apartheid Museum and the Mandela Foundation as well, and also to speak about something very important. That's the situation of girls and women in Afghanistan.
And it enrages, in fact it made a lot of people quite emotional, but it also enrages a lot of people to think that in the modern era we still have to be talking about access to basic rights, human rights for women and girls. You asked the question, which I thought was so powerful, what is it about an educated girl that scares men in power? How would you answer that question?
Education is the foundation of equality for women, for girls, for so many of us. And people who are scared of seeing equality, people who are scared of seeing women in positions of power, do not want them to be educated. They do not want them to have access to work. And what they don't realize is that education not only empowers those women and girls, but it actually helps our community. It helps our society. There are economic benefits to it. There are social benefits to it. We live in a much better place when girls are educated. It helps us reduce extreme poverty, mitigate climate change, and it adds up to $30 trillion to the world economy, according to one estimate.
So if it doesn't make moral sense, at least let it make financial sense, do something.
Yes.
What I thought was really important was how laser-focused you were on the concept of an expanded definition of apartheid, this codification of gender-based oppression. For a woman or a girl who's sitting in Nigeria under Boko Haram, you talked about the Taliban, for girls in Afghanistan. What could this mean in practical terms if it happens?
The situation that women in Afghanistan are witnessing right now is a gender apartheid. It is the systematic oppression of women and girls. And the very people who are meant to protect you, those who are in power, are the ones who are taking away those human rights from you. In that situation, it's so important that we recognize this as a part of the international law. It should be part of the crime against humanity. And women should feel safe. Girls should feel safe. I'm worried about girls in Afghanistan right now because we are looking away from them. This has been happening for more than 2.5 years. But I'm also worried about girls and women in other parts of the world as well. Because if we do not step up for women and girls in Afghanistan, we're telling girls in other places that we will not step up for them, that we will be debating their rights, that we will be taking so long discussing if and when and how, and we would not be coming together to say there is no compromise on protecting the rights of women and girls.
So how would it impact their daily lives when they're living in a context of oppression and invisibility?
So it was a great honor for me to bring an Afghan activist with me to the stage. Mitra is her name. And I have met many other incredible Afghan girls and women who are doing amazing work. Their life before was a normal life where they could hold positions in government. They were running ministries. They were playing games. They were learning. They were in school. And all of that is taken away from them. And right now, their life is basically limited to their house. They cannot leave their house to even go to a grocery store. They cannot leave their house to go and see a doctor. They cannot leave their house to even go to a university. Universities are banned for them. Secondary education is banned for them. And it's basically the oppression of these Afghan girls and women in their society. They are not treated as equal humans.
Again, it feels like we're living in the Stone Age when we must talk about that. And actually, Malala, I love that when you speak with the community. You don't speak on behalf of. You allow them to share that stage with you, and that's why when hearing from human rights lawyers and hearing from people, women from Afghanistan, was even more powerful. I guess, having read your book and followed your journey over many years, you at one point said, you know, you didn't think that the Taliban would be so muscular in Swat, for example, which is where you're from, in your home village of Mangora. They suddenly encroached on the space and everything changed quietly and then very quickly. And then you were attacked. Are you worried today that even as you raise your voice again at that same enemy, that you're at risk?
I'm not worried about myself. I took the bullet, and I was lucky that I survived and the world stood with me. In this moment, I'm worried about other girls who could be targeted. I'm worried about the other women who are facing violence. There are reports of how women are put into forced detentions, they are put into forced marriages, they are beaten, they're even put to death. So I'm more worried about them. For me, the story of the Taliban is now the story of the past. I feel myself so fortunate that I don't live under that situation, and no woman in any place should live under any form of oppression. So I'm hoping that the women and girls in Afghanistan do not live in this situation for any longer. It has already been a very, very long time, and I hope that the world decide to stand with them.
Malala, it's the 10-year anniversary of Malala Fund. What a journey it's been. You started off as a child activist. Now you're a long-time campaigner. You've got this global experience. What are you personally most proud of in this moment? Or is it too soon for you to celebrate?
I think it's important to take a pause and celebrate, even if it feels like it's a small moment. We have been really proud of the work that we have done for 12 years of education to be included in the Sustainable Development Goals. We are really proud of the work that we have done for girls' education in Nigeria and Pakistan, and we're proud of the work that we are doing directly with the girls. For me, it has been 10 years. This story started as the girl who was shot by the Taliban. I changed it into the girl who fought for her rights. And I talked about how one girl can actually then advocate for other girls. But now, 10 years later, I want to say that let's not end the story with one girl. There are so many girls out there who are doing incredible work. Let's trust them. Let's fund their work. Let's support them. Let's follow their leadership. So my proud moment for the next 10 and 20 years would be when we have many more girls, many more Malalas who we are supporting.
That really is, it really is incredible. And as you look back, you couldn't have done it without that support, that initial pioneering support of your father, Ziauddin. When I read about his contribution to your life journey and your life work, it really is remarkable that he didn't silence your voice, thinking that you were just 10, 11, but he amplified it, and that I think is a lesson for all of us. There's so much more that I want to talk about in terms of the fund, because what you do as Malala Fund is invest in local activists and people, and I wanted to talk about what that looks like in South Africa. Maybe a quick word on that. What does it look like, that work in South Africa?
So we are working in Nigeria, Pakistan, Brazil, and a few other countries. We hope to expand to South Africa one day, but we are not there yet. But our goal is to directly support local education activists who see the problems that girls face in access to education very closely, and they can help us come up with the best possible solutions in addressing them. And my father and I were activists as two individuals, so I believe in the power of activism by individuals, by the local organizations, and so supporting the individuals and the girls directly is the best investment that we can make in helping us achieve the world where all girls can go to school.
You know, when we hear your story, the high price you had to pay, it's easy to forget that you're just over a quarter of a century. You know, you've lived 26 years, but it feels like a long time.
Yes.
The one, I think, really delicious thing, as a closing thought maybe, is that Malala is not all about being serious. We, got to witness this really tender moment between you and your husband, Asir, the red carpet at Barbie, kind of having that sense of humor between you. How are you taking care of yourself? How is that relationship and your love going?
Well, I think he's a very kind person, because I'm very competitive, and he has always been supportive of me. So he asked me to play golf with him, and now I'm better than him. He asked me to play
What's your handicap? I don't know what it means, but what is your handicap?
I'm still learning. Then we started playing pickleball, and I beat him in that as well. So he's been going through a very tough journey, I would say. But I love to just take some time off to play sports or to spend some time with my friends and family, and also to learn and read and listen to other incredible people who are doing amazing work. It's always important to look around and to celebrate all these other people who are making our lives better for us.
Well, we wish you every success in love and in your life's work. It's been such a delight and an honor speaking to you today. Hopefully you get to see the Big Five. You said you weren't able to do that. You're heading to Cape Town next, but enjoy South Africa. We embrace you, and we'll continue to watch the work that you do have an impact across the world. Really appreciate your time tonight. Go well. That was Bungiwe, my interview with Malala Yousafzai. There was so much more we wanted to talk about, but there are so many commitments, so many people waiting to talk to her, so we want to give way to them as well. She, of course, delivered the 21st Nelson Mandela Annual Lecture, and what a powerful and inspirational moment that was. Back to you.
And of course, Iman, really a great interview and quite an inspiration, and listening to just how there must be more like her, and even better, calling for the fact that there needs to be more Malalas. And certainly as we look at the plight of women and girls in this country, it's quite an important conversation.